Hey, Spanish teachers and anyone else who may be watching this video. I get a question often, and it's usually from people who know me and who've known me for a while, but also people that I worked with and students that I had. And the question is, why did you stop teaching? Especially because I love teaching. I love teaching. I love Spanish, so to be able to teach Spanish is such a privilege. It's a blessing, and I really enjoy being with teenagers. So teaching high school was great, and also I really loved coaching cross country and track, which I did while I was teaching as well. I probably shouldn't have coached, but that was part of the reason why I was teaching, is because I love coaching. I love running. And the reason why I say that is because I ended up working a lot. And I worked a lot for very little. My first year teaching, I made $17,000 for that year. And that's because I didn't have my teaching license at the beginning. I was technically an intern. I don't know if it's like this in other places, but in Utah, if you don't have a license, then they can contract you as an intern. It's a provisional position, so they don't have to hire you back on again. And because of that, they also can pay you a half salary, and which is nice for the school, because then they can hire more than one intern or something like that. But it was not the best for me. And I was married, I had a kid, and my wife at the time, she was pregnant, and she had a child. My youngest, who is now 10 years old, was born in the middle of the school year, December of 2014. So that was fun. That was an adventure. It was fun for certain reasons and not fun for other reasons. But anyways, so a lot of time, a lot of stress. But backing it up to 2010, I started having depression and anxiety around the time that my oldest was born. And I didn't want to draw attention to myself, especially because I wasn't the one who gave birth to the child. And so I didn't say anything to anyone. Also, I didn't know what was going on. And so as time went on, things got worse and worse. And I started to have anxiety attacks. And these anxiety attacks in the beginning were just kind of frustrating. Like, I just had a hard time doing things. Eventually, they got to the point where I was kind of paralyzed. It was similar to having a seizure. And so I taught in high school for 3 years, 2014 to 2017. I was having anxiety attacks going into my first year of teaching, but we thought that there was going to be some kind of solution. And as the school year would go on, the anxiety attacks would become more frequent and more powerful. As each year progressed, they would be more frequent and more powerful. So by the time my third year of teaching had happened, or was happening, they were really bad. And it just got to the point where I couldn't function. The anxiety attacks were just taking over my life, and I couldn't function. And even though I love teaching, I love teenagers, there were definitely some things that were really stressful about teaching and classroom management and dealing with parents and early mornings. Some of these things you guys thrive on, and Bless you. Bless your sweet hearts. I did not thrive on those things. So with that being said, by the time my third year, towards the end, my anxiety attacks were so frequent that I really couldn't teach, and the pressure to have lessons ready was so great that caused anxiety attacks. It contributed to the anxiety attacks. And so I just decided that I needed a break, and that I probably needed to focus on getting a job somewhere that would allow me more time, that somewhere that I didn't necessarily have to take work home with me, where I didn't necessarily have to deal with parents and with classroom management and students that were misbehaving and things like that. And so that's when I got into tech and started working at a couple different tech companies, and it's been really good. I haven't had an anxiety attack, and there's a few different reasons. One is I found a really great medication that works really well for me. The stress levels went down, the amount of time that I was spending went down, and so I haven't had an anxiety attack since 2018, 2019. I haven't had depression since 2018, 2019. Yeah, it's been good. And the two biggest things are medication and figuring out a way to decrease my stress, which was essentially quitting my job, which I know is not always possible. I'm a believer in exercise. I think exercise is good. I am a believer in having a good diet. In fact, I'll probably do another video on this, but I'm on the keto diet right now. There's a lot of good stuff coming out right now about the keto diet, and specifically mental health, having to do with mitochondria that we have and that's working in our brains, and why other mitochondria may not, and why that's contributing to mental health. So I'm on the keto diet right now, so I do think that diet plays a big role, but decreasing stress and medication was the biggest thing for me initially in the beginning. So I'll share more about my life and what I'm doing and everything like that, but that is why I stopped teaching.